the DVD of The Godfather, there's tons and tons of screen tests with different actors. And as you talk about some of these actors and we hear the audience laughing, it's clear that you took every suggestion seriously and saw what that person could bring to the role. What was the most ludicrous suggestion the studio had for you for someone to play a role in The Godfather?
Ooh, you know, maybe some of the Michael choices. I mean, they didn't care whether that made sense or anything. It was like if they had something, like, you know, like Ryan O'Neal. I mean, you could have done it. Anybody can be anything if you have if you see a path that you could take, you know. But I think the stupidest decision was they wanted me to make it all set in 1973 and shoot it in Kansas City. I'm going to do one more just so we have a little feel for audience participation. And I'll repeat the question. The guy with the blue shirt there.
Thank you, Mr. Copeland. I am an amateur filmmaker, and I am wondering, and I'm hoping to start another film project soon, and I'm wondering if you have any advice on production or working with actors, any pieces of advice you can give me, and also, will you hire me?
Also what?
I missed that last part.
What was the last part?
Will you hire me, please?
Will you hire him?
In the wine business? You know, normally I tell young guys who ask me that question, what should I do? And I say, get married. Because it was the fact that I was married young and I had this wonderful little family that I wanted so hard to be able to take care of and provide for, that instead of going out and being the wild Hollywood guy in nightclubs, I was at home writing scripts. So I take the fact of my early marriage as one of the reasons why I had a young success. Seriously though, about actors, try to get at least 3 or 4 days of rehearsal. Films don't ever rehearse. But you can do so much just in an empty room with your actors, just getting to know each other, having them be in character, doing improvs and playing theater games. I always did a rehearsal. The Godfather, the really breakthrough night was very early. We were in Patsy's restaurant, and I had arranged for a back room in an Italian restaurant uptown New York. And I set up it to look like a dining table, you know, with and it was Marlon's first night to be with the actors, and they were just terrified and enthralled to meet Marlon Brando, as were we all. And I had ordered an Italian meal, and I had Marlon at the head, and to the right was Al Pacino, Johnny Casal, Jimmy Caan, Robert Duvall, and my sister Tally was serving them, the different courses. And I said, do an improvisation. When you do an improvisation, you usually tell each participant some little secret thing that they should work toward. But they're basically just making up the scene. And you know, Al was being like very intense and sensitive, you know, to impress Marlon, how intense and sensitive he was. Jimmy Caan was just cracking jokes and, you know, bada-beep, bada-bop, and was impressing Marlon how funny he was. Johnny Casal was just the sweetest guy on earth, and he was just sitting there being sweet. And Robert Duvall was, every time Marlon wasn't looking, he was doing Marlon Brando imitation. And my sister Tally was just terrified, and she was just a young girl serving the meal. But I tell you, after that 2-hour, 3-hour improv, they were a family. So when you work with actors, especially when you use something sensual like food or music or dancing, you can really bring the actor along. For years I thought that you get them to the point where they become the character. But recently, doing a very good improv, I realized, oh no, that's not what happens. Eventually, the character becomes them, because it's the actor that really does it, is the flesh and blood person, and the character is an apparition, a phenomenon that inhabits them. But that process is very magical, and if you have a few days to work with the actors, that's why I think everyone who wants to be a filmmaker should, at first, just do one-act plays, because if you do one-act plays, you're working with the essentials of what cinema is, which is writing and acting. Of course, cinematography and editing and all that are extraordinary disciplines and very essential, but you can make a movie that has wonderful acting and wonderful writing and terrible everything else, and it can be a wonderful movie. But I don't think you can make a movie that has terrible writing and terrible acting and beautiful art direction. What do you have, you know? So it's acting and writing is the oxygen and hydrogen that makes up the work itself, you know. So I would work in one-act plays, because if you work in a one-act play, it could just be 2 actors. Every major playwright has written dozens of wonderful one-act plays, and you can have 2 people. You can get together with your friends and have 3 people each do a one-act play. And there's something very essential that you have that you don't have in all your little cinema short films. You know what that is? The audience. When you direct a one-act play, you know how the audience reacts to your work, whereas when you make a film, it takes 4 months by the time you have it edited that you get the audience. So that's my answer to you.